The summer 2019 season of movies is behind us, and it's been a real ass kicker for moviegoers. But we have a fall full of potential awesome movies, and today I'm counting down my top 10 most anticipated movies of fall 2019. No real notes before I go into this, just one little thing. These are not my top 10 ranked on how likely I think they're going to be good, but rather just how excited I am to see them come out and see how the audience responds to it, how I respond to it. These are in no particular order. I'm just going sort of on release dates, but just trying to make sure there's a nice flow to this. So, without further ado, let's get started. First one we got on the list is Ad Astra. Brad Pitt has already basically guaranteed himself a spot on my top 10 movies of 2019 since he was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but he may go 2 for 2 with Ad Astra. This film just looks incredible, at least from a visual standpoint. It's absolutely breathtaking. I think that it's already won the visual effects department when it comes to the Oscars, and it may even win cinematography for Hoyt van Hoytema. It looks absolutely breathtaking. Now, the bigger question is, can all these performances and this story live up to these lofty visual expectations? We all know the visuals are going to be good, but this is an interesting story. We basically have this Apocalypse Now sort of story, but in a sci-fi setting and with a PG-13 rating. And I'm not sure how far James Gray can take this descent into madness, descent into darkness with just a PG-13 rating. So my hope for this is that he doesn't go too far into that Apocalypse Now aspect, that he makes a story of his own. And with a star-studded cast, Brad Pitt, Liv Tyler, Donald Sutherland, James Earl Jones, I think that it's going to be a fantastic ride, and I can't wait to see it. That's all I got for September, and then we go into October with Joker. Now, this is a really interesting movie for me because I don't think it's going to be necessarily one of the fall's best films, but I think it's going to be an interesting ride nonetheless. What we have here is one of the most revered characters, not only in comic books, but also in films, and one of the most revered performances of all time, that being Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker 10 years ago in The Dark Knight, and we have it revisited once again, and I'm sort of concerned for this one. For me, the mystique of the Joker is such an essential part of his character. Christopher Nolan, I feel as though, struck that perfect balance in 2008. He gave enough hints towards the Joker's past, but also allowed us to use our own imaginations. And here, I feel as though that the magic of the Joker may be diminished when we have too much information. I have doubts that this is going to be the best interpretation of the Joker, but that trailer was absolutely astounding. The director has a lot of faith in this film, so I'm really intrigued to see how it all turns out. Even though I don't think it's going to be the best, I can't wait for its release. Next up, a week later, we got Bong Joon-ho's Parasite. Now, this is interesting because this film has already debuted at the Cannes Film Festival and won its top prize. So there are a lot of people already saying that this is the best film of the year, at least so far, and I personally cannot wait to see it. Bong Joon-ho just has such versatility as a director, and that's just coming from his 2 English language films that I saw. I haven't even seen his Korean language films, which are apparently far superior than his English language ones. So I just can't wait to see him at his home where he feels most comfortable as a director. And plus, this won the top prize at Cannes, so there's a lot of hype riding behind this. I want to see if it lives up to that hype. A lot of people will be seeing Ang Lee's Gemini Man on this weekend because it has Will Smith in it and it's an action movie, but you can catch me watching Parasite. A week later, we have my next pick, Jojo Rabbit, directed by Taika Waititi. Now, Taika Waititi, he's another one of those directors like Bong Joon-ho where I just want to see more of his work, like What We Do in the Shadows and The Hunt for the Wilder People. But I did see Thor Ragnarok. It's easily in my top 5 Marvel films of all time, and I just can't wait to see him at his home, not with any Marvel constraints on him, just him doing his creative best. This is going to be a very hard film to pull off because, well, when it comes to these Nazi satires, they can be a little bit unbalanced. The Great Dictator, 1940, Chaplin did it, and, well, it was really powerful stuff, but it certainly lacked the comedic weight of Chaplin's other films. To Be or Not to Be, a little bit better on the comedy aspect, certainly nailed the satire aspect of it, but just didn't tell that compelling of a story. And then the producers did it in 1967, Mel Brooks, and that was much funnier, told a much better story, but wasn't really a Nazi satire, sort of forgot those elements. And so here I hope we have the definitive Nazi satire film, but it's going to be extremely hard to pull off. But I look forward to seeing how Taika Waititi did just that. On the same day, we have The Lighthouse from A24's darling Robert Eggers. Now, The Witch was a very good horror film. Was it, on par with Get Out and Hereditary? I wouldn't say so, but it was a pretty darn good horror film, and this horror film looks out of this world. Not only does it look scary and, really claustrophobic with that aspect ratio, but honestly, it looks really goddamn funny. This gave me a lot of SpongeBob vibes, hence why there was a whole viral YouTube video made with SpongeBob and the voiceover from this trailer. It just gives off very weird and creative and unique vibes. It looks like it's going to be the best horror film of the year, at least for me. We have this unique sense of comedy, we have horror, we have two what's going to be looking like breakout performances for Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. It seems like they're both going to get Oscar nominations for this. They look pretty, insane in this movie, and I just can't wait to see this creative, jumble of ideas. It seems like there's so much going on here, and I can't wait to see how any of these guys pulled it off, because it looks like a real challenge. It may be bad, but, I think there's a lot of potential for this to be one of the year's best. So with those 2 months out of the way, we're halfway there, so let's talk about some Netflix films, because Netflix looks to be stepping up this fall and, really trying to get that Oscar buzz. Looks like they're trying to get some Oscar potential for some of these films. And it looks like we're starting with Marriage Story, directed by Noah Baumbach. I think that I'm pronouncing his name right, but I'm not sure. Now, Noah Baumbach, interesting guy, because he helped co-write some of Wes Anderson's best movies. I love Wes Anderson. And this guy, Noah, he directed what was basically the pinnacle dramedy divorce film back in 2005, The Squid and the Whale. And so why is he back to that? Why is he coming back? And that's the big question here. Is he just coming back so, Netflix can get some buzz for this movie? Is this just going to be a lamer version of The Squid and the Whale? Who knows? That is my ultimate worry with this film, but I am really confident in this director. We got Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver in the lead roles, so I think there's some potential for this one to also be one of the year's best, but also I think more potential for it to just be a very okay-ish film. But really excited to see how it all pans out. Next up, another Netflix film, Dolomite Is My Name. So we have an interesting case here, because Eddie Murphy has been in one film in the past 6 years, and now he's back for Dolomite Is My Name. So I'm just interested to see, why is he back? What is just so essential about this tale that it needed to be told? I'm just really interested in that. I have nothing more to say about this film other than I'm interested in seeing, the comedy of it, how funny it's going to be, because we have been experiencing, a real dark age for comedy movies, and I'm interested to see, can Eddie Murphy revitalize comedy like he did in the early part of the 1980s. Just a really interesting movie here that I think we should all look out for. And then the last of our Netflix trio, we have The Irishman, which is a Martin Scorsese gangster film. Now, Scorsese is, of course, the master of gangster films, but he hasn't been here for a while, and I'm honestly not too keen on this film. I didn't really enjoy the trailer for it all that much. I'm very skeptical about it, especially about the CGI de-aging stuff. Didn't look all that too convincing in the trailer. I don't know why everyone was so excited about it. I think that they're all just being blind to it, because it does have incredible actors and it does have an incredible director. But I think that this is actually going to be one of the fall's biggest busts when it comes to film. Now, with that being said, why am I excited for it? Well, I'm just excited to see how it's going to turn out. Can it perhaps be a great film, be one of the top 10 at the end of the year, or is it going to be, like I suspect, a huge bust that's going to really disappoint people? Who knows, but we'll find out this fall. Next up, we got Ford vs. Ferrari, which is releasing in late November. Now, sometimes you want to watch something that's pushing the boundaries of cinema, like The Lighthouse. I think that's going to do that for me this fall. But sometimes you just want to watch a drama that you're interested about, and I think that's going to be Ford v. Ferrari. There's just nothing really to this movie that I can really explain in this video that's not explained, in the description for the movie. It's the story of Le Mans. It's Ford v. Ferrari. There's not much else to say. Just a great director, James Mangold, behind it. He made Walk the Line way better than it should have been. And then we got Matt Damon and Christian Bale in the lead roles. I mean, do I have to sell you any more? It's just going to be, in my opinion, a great film. Is it going to be in the top 10 at the end of the year? I don't know. But I think that we should all just look out for it, and it may be one of the best dramas of this fall. And the last film we're talking about today is Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Now, I'm not really interested in this film for myself, because I may not even see it. Out of all these films, it's probably the one I'm least likely going to see, because I skipped out on Solo. I don't really like what Disney's doing to Star Wars. But I just think it's going to be an interesting release for this film. Now, first off, I want to see the vibes before the film. Of course, The Last Jedi did a lot of damage to Star Wars, and I want to see if the excitement is still there. I think it will be, but you never know. I think it's going to be interesting to see, the pre-hype for this movie. Second off, I want to see if Disney can perhaps redeem itself. Perhaps, this is a really redemption-based movie, and it somehow sort of, salvages what Disney has destroyed over the past couple of years. And then third, this is the end of an era, similar to how Avengers Endgame and Toy Story 4 were both ends of era films. I don't even know what to call them, but this is the end of the Skywalker saga. That's it. There's no more Skywalker stuff after this, and I'm intrigued to see how it all ends, how this is going to be this one satisfying big conclusion here. I don't know if it's going to pull it off, but I am just more than any of these films excited to see this one come out and see how it does. Not only at the box office, not only with critics, but most importantly, just with the audiences, how the audience and Star Wars fans respond to this film. And with that said, everyone, those are my top 10 most anticipated films of fall 2019. Thank you so much for watching. Please, comment, share, subscribe, all that good jazz, and I'll see you all next time.